In a bustling city, there was a young artist named Hiro. Hiro loved to create beautiful pottery in his small studio, but no matter how hard he tried, he could never achieve perfection in his work. One day, Hiro's wise neighbor, Mrs. Tanaka, visited his studio. She noticed Hiro's frustration and asked him what troubled him. "I want my pottery to be perfect," Hiro sighed, "but no matter how much I try, there's always a flaw." Mrs. Tanaka smiled and said, "Hiro, have you ever heard of Wabi-Sabi?" Hiro shook his head, curious to learn more. "Wabi-Sabi is about finding beauty in imperfection," Mrs. Tanaka explained. "It's about embracing the uniqueness of each piece, flaws and all." Inspired by Mrs. Tanaka's words, Hiro began to experiment with his pottery, allowing his hands to create freely without worrying about perfection. He started to see beauty in the asymmetrical shapes and subtle imperfections of his pieces. One day, a famous art collector visited Hiro's studio and was captivated by his pottery. "Your work is unlike anything I've ever seen," the collector exclaimed. "It's imperfect yet beautiful, just like life itself." From that day on, Hiro's pottery became renowned for its wabi-sabi aesthetic. People from all over the world admired the unique beauty of his creations, each piece telling its own story of imperfection and grace. And so, Hiro learned that true artistry lies not in perfection, but in the gentle embrace of imperfection, in the wabi-sabi of his craft.